What's up, everybody? This is Aminis for Responsible Gaming episode 167, not 101, 67 of Aminis Designs. This one is called Little Bodies because so I have a design from my vault that we're gonna base on a creature. Without further ado, just straight up. We're gonna make a creature and where should I look at this? I'm just look at this here. Creature does. Creature sees, creature does. Main important part. It says something like this: whenever a creature enters. So we're gonna discuss this from your hand. Wow, that is meant to say creature. So the effect intended here is get a fight if you cheat or if you play an effect that allows you to put a creature onto the battlefield. Okay, so two things. What I could say is if you haven't casted it, something like this, actually that's probably the best. That's still probably the best. I like the idea of saying creature enters the battlefield from your hand because technically they enter the battlefield from the stack if you cast them. But for one, it's not clear enough, and for two, there is actually basically the exact same template out there. It's on Phage at the very least, and Phage says if you didn't cast it from your hand, so there's no reason we wouldn't do that. So we're gonna do that. So we're gonna say whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if you didn't cast it from your hand, you may have it fight target creature. My idea would be that this was a very small utility creature, so I'm thinking, and I think fight is kind of fair to put on a 2-drop, so that would look something like this. If you cheat a creature into play, you may have it fight target creature. I think that's rare. That seems rare to me, but I think as it is, it's not very useful. Not even in Cube. In Cube, even if you have a ton of effects that are going to put creatures onto the battlefield under your control, those effects, you don't want to waste a pick on a 2/1 that might get you a fight when you get your combo going. So I think this is not cool enough. This is not useful enough as it is. So I think a simple enough fix is to add some mana. And I don't know, I think green or red is acceptable. I kind of like it like that. What is to say? What I can tell you is it's similar to Buddy. Yeah, I don't think I know his name, but we can find it pretty easily. It's gonna be CMC2. It's gonna be red. It's gonna be green, and he's gonna say add mana, deal damage. Hopefully that's enough. Zurtide Druid. Go figure, I didn't remember the name. This guy only makes green, which is interesting. I don't think making red mana is very much of a deal-breaking ability. Game-breaking. It seems fine. So it's a 1/1. Potentially we want a 1/1 here too. I like better that the guy that makes things fight is a 2/1, to be honest. I don't know. It's maybe ever so slightly pushed, but this ability being so narrow, I don't think it's that much of a problem. The real potential problem is that it's a win more effect for the most part, and well, the second problem is actually that okay, so the second problem is how often can you make a creature enter the battlefield without casting it. I guess it's gonna allow you to make fight all the creatures that you blink, which is kind of powerful. Yeah, I didn't think of that. That's a bit of a machine gun. If you say you didn't cast it, so everything you blink fights, which is not that much of a problem. We're in Gruul colors, so you're already stretching pretty wide to create a combo, but you could still make a Naya commander deck, or I don't know, perhaps it's exploitable a different way. Now, the other thing that I'm wondering is it actually works with Evoke. So Evoke creatures are gonna fight, which could be a big problem, because things like, at least a medium problem, because things like the one that destroys an artifact, I think is an Evoke card that's something like a 4/4 that evokes for 1. So evoking that and have it fight is pretty nasty, especially since it's supposed to die anyways. So, two things. Either we change the template so that it doesn't combo, which I don't think we can do with the previous template either. Entering from your hand is still correct for Evoke, for example. Or we decide that since it's abusable, we want to put it on something that's beefier, so that it's more of a mana investment. It's not so much of a broken enabler. Because I do think if you chain this card into an Evoke guy, it's okay. So where I'm gonna contradict myself is that if it's only having your Evoke card and make it fight, it's a theme deck that's pretty powerful, but it's not quite broken yet. You put a 2-drop, a Dork 2-drop that can transform some Evoke card into actually semi-removal. Let's see quickly. Evoke in green and red, because that could still be tolerable. Oh man, I'm bouncing up and down, because I'll tell you what, we might figure out that Evoke is not that big a problem, but I'm thinking, if Evoke almost kill our card, what is the next mechanic that's actually going to kill our card? And that's probably the way to think about this. Like, there's probably too many mechanics that would cause crazy situation with entering the battlefield without actually casting it. Not certain either, because alternate mana cost do make you cast the card still. So Evoke in green and red is pretty present, pretty potent. For 3 you could deal 6 to a creature, you know? Look at this one, Spite Billows. Cast a Spite Billows, you can fight when it enters the battlefield. Well, fancy that. When it leaves the battlefield, it deals 6 to a creature. So virtually tap your mana dork, pay 2 mana, deal 6 to 2 creatures. It is not per se broken. What I could say is I could pretend I have I created an invoke combo card, a rare that could be in whatever this thing is. No, this over here, Morning Tide, and Lorwyn also has Evoke. So one thing I want to see is, I think it's Smoke Breeder. Yeah, I would have been surprised. Something like that though, isn't it? Yep. Hey! What? What did I just search for? Smoke Breeder. Whatever. I'm gonna just chalk this up as whatever. Smoke Breeder. Okay, sure. So this is, oh, this was an uncommon, a 2 mana on any combination, elementals. What is the rare payoff for evoke? Well, I wish I knew. There's a bunch of things that kind of I almost have it. I feel like I might even have drafted it in Modern Master, but I just don't remember. Okay, I'll try one thing. I'm gonna say type rare. No, not type rare. That is another thing. Rarity rare and rule text elemental. Maybe it says convoke spell. No, I didn't validate type rare. No. Elemental mastery. There's much more hits than I expected for this. Oh yeah, create elemental tokens, of course. Alright, whatever. No, what I want is convoke. Is there some convoke in the... Oh, that's gonna be all the... it's not convoke anyway, it's evoke. Magic in your fancy names. Alright, nothing. Whatever. Okay, let's quickly have a thought about what else could make creatures enter without casting them from your hand. There is Suspend. Suspend would allow you to fight with the creatures that you make enter the battlefield. It wouldn't be as much of a deal. Still be kind of... Yeah, I think one way or another you probably want your enabler to be bigger, at least cost a little more. So I don't know. It's hard to give it a good flavor from there on. It's hard to tell what you need to cost a creature that gives you this ability as well. I mean, you can be somewhat on the safe side, but pretty boring with something like that, maybe. So you get some sort of big elemental that just makes other elemental fight virtually. That's a thing that allows it to be a somewhat boring yet fairly solid creature with a weird upside. Weird upside being able to build around, but also doesn't also help you to cast the evoke, suspend, etc. and whatnot, and also happens later. That being said, if you suspend something on turn 1, 2, 3, cast this on turn 4, you can still blow out your opponent on turn whatever. Thankfully, this guy will be on the board, and your opponent will have some turns to deal with it. Why not? I wanted to make a card that gives you a fight if you didn't cast a creature. I didn't think of all the mechanics that would do that right out the box, so I think you can get away with putting your enabler at 4. Maybe it needs to be a 6-drop wacky rare, but I don't think it's quite that bad. Now the thing is, if you didn't cast it from your hand. Wait, does evoke? You may cast this spell for its evoke cost. Yeah. Yeah. So the evoke would fall into that no matter what. I was still hoping. One of the main reason I mean I like the format of a small creature that gives you that effect better, but you just can't get away with you know, I don't even know actually, because yeah, I don't even know. The thing is, like, having a creature that does that is not exactly the best way to construct a deck, even if it's powerful looking when it happens. Like having some mana dorks and some evoke card in the hope of getting a fight out of your evoke card is pretty cute, but it's not gonna be busted in any form. In standard it could be pretty powerful, I suppose. Not that evoke exists anymore anyways, but the good part is that it says fight, so evoke is busted or very good. Suspend is good, but it's still a fight. It's not a one-way. Throw it out there, see what people say. I think I get the sense that it's probably too powerful, but I don't know what to do to not make it a big wacky rare. And I'll be honest, making big wacky rares is a cop-out most of the time, because you just, not that I love doing the balancing, you just didn't do the balancing when you go like, well, let's make it cost 7 and I'm sure I'll be fine. So developmentally, I think this is most likely abusable, but once you abuse it, I don't know if it's broken. It's going to be very powerful, probably. And probably there's a bunch of use cases that I haven't even thought of. But you know what? We're not going to bother. Oh, we're not going to care. We're not going to make the inventory of all the possibilities. We're going to move on and make another little buddy. So I picked this design and I figured, what could we do as an episode with this type of creature? And I'm thinking we can use the same spirit of this is a small enabler for some type of mechanic that a color does a lot, and we're going to put a spin on it and add it some upside from another color. So let me explain. We could do a 2-drop with blue and something else that gives you an effect when you draw a card. And that's kind of exciting already to think about. But yeah, or you could do a Golgari that gives you an effect when you reanimate. Kind of narrow, and also if it's Golgari, the two colors are actually both owning the put things from the graveyard. So I don't love that idea. Ideally, I would not have no overlap on the colors, just for giggles, not to look like I'm doing favoritism, and that would mean white, blue, and black Esper. So blue with a spin of white, a spin. Interesting. I feel like if I do something along the lines of whenever you draw a card, gain a life, that's probably done in a bunch of cards. But I can't particularly think what on top of my head. Whenever you draw a card, gain life. Let's see what that does. Whenever you gain life, draw a card. Kind of funny. Which actually, ooh, yeah, that's a problem. Ah, no, look. Whenever you draw a card, gain life. Because I was gonna say, there's a very big problem if you do stuff like whenever you gain life, draw a card, and then whenever you draw a card, gain life. See what's happening there? That's very interesting though. I never realized that those two cards together would be like, hey, draw your deck, gain infinite life. Which actually is not good. Maybe that's what's saving the combo, is that since there is no you may, if you put this combo on the table, you die. Unless you have a third card that prevents you from dying. So probably not the best thing to do. But this tells us that this effect exists, which I like. It also tells us that this effect is not particularly new or exciting. People will say, oh, that already exists. It also tells us that this effect exists in not that many cards at all. Whenever you gain life, you may pay. Whenever you gain life, draw a card. This is about the only thing that says when you draw a card, gain life. Isn't that insane? Funny enough, I would have paired white and blue, just if I thought of in terms of one color, even though the effect as a whole I think fits pretty well Simic and better than Azorius possibly, or as well. So that's interesting. But you run into that when you do design, like you flavor of a color, flavor another color, not the same as flavor of the color combination, even though there's a bunch of crossover. How about whenever you draw a card, opponent lose life, you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Right. So this guy says that whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. It's a 5/5 though. Psychosis Crawler. Hello. Yeah, okay. I kind of remember you. Yeah, I mean, this wasn't busted, was it? Let's see the comments. There is no comments. So whenever an opponent loses life, draw a card. Doesn't seem like something that would be that common that the combos would be busted. Keep in mind that we can make combos. We can even make infinite combos. It's fine. Whenever an opponent loses a life, draw a card, I don't think is really a thing anyways. So I don't think we're that at risk to create an infinite combo that's too easy. So I think maybe do that. How about maybe do that? So UB and I'm just gonna use that. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. Pretty darn easy, pretty darn simple. We could do something like, I like the idea that they are just one pair of colors. I don't like the idea that it's actually pretty darn powerful in effect to put on turn 2. So that I like less. But since you're not going to attack with it, if you really want to capitalize on the fact that it's making you deal damage to your opponent, it doesn't really matter that it's a 1/1 or a 2/1, I don't think. Yeah, I think it looks better than just weird 1/1 that does this. Still probably too good though. It's kind of a bummer. How about, that's also too good. I was gonna say something like, whenever you draw a card, target creature gain -1/-2 until end of turn. Problem being that that means that you always have at the bare minimum a -1/-0 to put somewhere on the battlefield. I guess it's not that big a deal, but it's going to be sweet and limited. I think so much in terms of limited that it's kind of hindering my. Sometimes it's slowing me down a little bit. It's also weird, but. Wow. Gets. Oof. What you say? It's definitely weird. It also kind of looks like an uncommon, actually. That's kind of a bummer. You can say that, but that's boy, nasty. Might be acceptable, but it's ruthless. I don't imagine that exists. Let's see. So whenever, let's say just whenever, and target creature gets -1, it's probably gonna be type blue. I don't know if I can type -1/-1 as one block of text, and it would be whenever target creature gets -1. That's really? How's that possible? There's only, there can be that few objects that have a condition to give a -1/-1. So this one is an uncommon, and it does every time a creature enters the battlefield, which is obviously much more control than drawing cards. Maybe drawing cards is not the smartest idea. Drawing cards, the problem with drawing cards is that you just don't have to do anything, and you get it, which is kind of lame. Been on a pickle, bit of a pickle over here. Yeah. And even that is powerful but not flashy, which is probably fine for a rare, but it still looks like there is not enough text somehow. It is a rare though. It is a bloody rare. Can't you do that as a rare? -1/-1. Basically you always have a -1, and if you manage to have draw spells, they also double as removal for a small creature. That might actually be acceptable. It's only a 2-drop that is not resilient at all. I don't know. It's hard to. It's hard to write powerful creatures, isn't it? Because you get, like, you see cards like Packrat, or you see cards like even just a simple like 2-drop rares that just can easily run away with the game. You know, sometimes you play a game unlimited, somebody drops a rare on turn 1 or on turn 2, and it's the kind of thing that if you don't handle quickly, you just get demolished. Like Fleeceman Lion potentially, or yeah, I don't know. I mean, Dark Confidence sort of, or Scavenging Ooze, Pack Rats obviously. So I don't know. ensuring yourself that your opponent will always have a -1 on one of his creature every turn because you drew a card every turn. Not a deal breaker on a rare. It's fine. Transforming your draw spells into removal for bears, I think it might be fun as well. It's very oppressing. It's very annoying. It's pretty good rare, and it's pretty shitty to go against in a game of limited, but maybe it's just not unacceptable. So pack it up. I don't have all day. Not the most solid designs this week still, but hey, we tried. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this one could be a thing without. I don't like that it would be a thing without the add 2 mana pool, because then it becomes a card that just says, hey, let's make a deck that makes creatures enter the battlefield, and that's it. Like, the card just says combo me with evoke, combo me with suspend, and I'm just a stupid 1/1 for 2. And I think that's kind of lame. Obviously, it doesn't solve everything to just make it a mana dork, but it makes the card look like more interesting. Are those good excuses? Yeah, this one might be busted too. I think people will probably complain that those cards are powerhouses. I think they're at least potentially acceptable. And here are your 2 potentially acceptable designs of the week. We have weeks on, we have weeks off. It's interesting, it's food for thought. Make better versions of those cards, please, by all means. Because, you know, Magic is made of very fundamental bricks sometimes, and if you take these same ones and you just tweak their numbers well enough, you'll make something that's a good card. So I hope you enjoyed the process, and I'll be done for tonight. We're gonna make, oh god, I need to find a solution for switching scenes more efficiently. It's really the bane of my stream. Yes, I will wrap the cards up and post them tomorrow on all the usual outlets, be it Facebook, Reddit, Twitters, on the blog for the article, and on Reddit/Custom Magic. Come check it out, leave the comments, tell me what you think, and I'll see you next week. Alright? Episode 168 next week, so hope you're there. Have a great week. Play responsibly.